The Professors is brought to you by Blackborder.com. On the site shop, you'll find some of the lowest prices on Worldwide booster boxes and the oft-too-expensive singles, as well as over a dozen of the top content producers, if I do say so myself, on the Magic Net. So go check out Blackborder.com today.
Hello everybody and welcome to yet another episode of The Professors. This week we've got phenomenal Swiss rounds recorded, a top 8 recorded, and records recorded from Pro Tour San Diego. Post San Diego, we also saw the Star City Standard 5K. So we'll delve into the newest standard innovations, note some extended sideboard tech for the hottest list, observe the apotheosis of Rise of the Eldrazi spoilers, and more. So let's draw. While it had never been done before, how possible do you think a 17-0 straight record at the Pro Tour would be? By any pro. With Finkel and Bude's genius all-around playing, Zvi and Wafo Tapo's deck-building skills, someone like Saito's skill in Limited, it seems possible, right? Well, none of these players have ever done this, and probably never will. But one Mr. Luis Scott Vargas did it with ease. His Naya deck, remaining consistent, was quickly noted as a top contender when he hit 5-0. He then went on to flip the results from the Pro Tour Kyoto Finals match and defeat Gabe Nassif in draft. Eventually, he reached 12-0 and was locked for top 8. And while this is normally the round where players with 4 losses have their Alan from the hangover when he needs to win $80,000 moment, LSV was already in the moment after, which is the Alan from the hangover after he just won $80,000 top of your game moment. And staying calm and collective goes on to win the next 4 rounds, carrying him to a historical record of 16-0. Next comes the top 8. Both Brian David Marshall and his new behind-the-booth co-host Rich Hagan expected Luis Scott Vargas to win it out. If he did, this would carry him to a record of 19-0, a record unprecedented in number of wins, not just in a Pro Tour, not just in a single tournament, not just in multiple tournaments, but ever. He got off to a good start, winning in the quarterfinals, but he would meet his roadblock in the form of the Pro Tour champion, Simone Gertzen. See, with the exception of LSV, I honestly have no idea who anyone else in the top 8 is, and it would appear that that's the case for lots of other local players. As a result, after LSV lost, I mean, what's the point of watching the Pro Tour? Sure, the players are good. Really good. But you can watch any pro on any site. In this case, with the boosted random nature of Cascade with Jund, it's not very much fun to watch. Hell, the Jund vs. Jund matchup could be summed up as, I play big dudes for cheap, Gertzen wins, Gertzen stumbles, Bogamus gets mana screwed, Bogamus wins, Gertzen makes a notable decision here, Gertzen wins, derp derp derp, it's like an FNM. I don't mean to slander the play skill of Gertzen or Bogamus, or even the skill involved in playing Jund, because it is there. But the deck is irritating and random in nature enough that the fact that a deck like Blue-White Jace hasn't trumped the Jund deck in the Pro Tour at San Diego, Star City Standard 5K, or Channel Fireball 5K is annoying and marks Jund as continuing to be possibly the most degenerative standard deck. That said, should you play it in the current format? While I hate to admit it, the current testing results portray the outlandish idea that yes, you should still play the deck because it is the best deck in the format. Sure, this isn't always the case when people are trying like hell to beat out Jund, even playing decks so they can beat it. However, with consistent top 8 numbers of over 40% composite throughout 4 months, don't expect the numbers to change without a major archetypal epiphany. As for this archetypal epiphany, is Tom Ross's Boss Naya deck the answer? Well, it certainly makes you think more. But let's review what happened in LSV's match. Semifinals, Game 1. Right now, Gertzen is looking for a technical plan for not dying. No damage dealt to Scarlet Thrynax, all to Blood Red Elf. After Game 1, Gertzen says, couldn't do more than try. Gertzen wins Game 2. Game 3, Gertzen keeps a 1-lander. Game 4, Jund has the gas, Naya is color screwed. So, was LSV correct in playing Tectonic Edge? Should he have played another land, more mana fixers, a different combination of the two? My answer is that you could trade a Noble Hierarch for a Birds and trade out a Rootbound Crag for a Jungle Shrine. As Luis observed, come into play tapped is a resource, which a deck can only have so much of. However, the deck doesn't have too many come into play tapped lands and can still easily excel to its higher end of the 1 to 4 mana curve. And yet Gertzen knew this, and testing the limitations of his opponent's resources, won the Pro Tour. Last time we observed Peter Brozik's extended, Boros-colored list. As one of the lists rising in popularity in the Pro Tour qualifier scene, and already winning and top-8ing multiple without major sideboard or deck tweaking, it comes into question whether the list is ready for a format of Elves/Red Hosers, or if the format actually has that many Elvish lists/Red Hosers. Well, in testing, paralleling the PTQ top 8 lists, you need to keep 3 damping matrices and 3 smash to smithereens for any odd affinity matchups, but also the Zoo matchup. Refraction Trap also acts as a better version of Harm's Way against Zoo when they cast Tribal Flames, Lightning Helix, or Lightning Bolt, or against, of course, the Boros deck whenever the player plays any red spell. Then, the 3 Volcanic Fallouts are the obvious choice against an Elves matchup, right? Well, presumably. However, what if you side in Day of Judgment instead of Fallouts? Well, it's 1 extra mana in the less played color of your deck, and yet it makes the destruction of the Elves deck more certain. Most often, you'll live until turn 4, and that'll be the point at which the Elf deck will have amassed a much larger force. On one hand, traditional red hosers like Brent and Fortender, which can be tutored up by Ranger Reveals, don't defend against Day of Judgment. On the other hand, it might be one crucial turn too late. And it is unfortunately guaranteed to destroy your guys, which might have proved crucial in blocking the opposing force until you draw onto gas. But what about an alternative to Day of Judgment and Volcanic Fallout that doesn't destroy creatures on the opposing side of the battlefield, but stop them from entering it? Well, the key to this appears upping their mana cost. Our options appear in the form of Aethersworn Canonist and Lodestone Golem. Lodestone Golem offers a larger body, one that's usually big enough to attack through their creatures and threaten for the win. However, the point of Elves has always been to win fast, and when your opponent amasses enough Elves, it doesn't matter how big the Lodestone Golem is. Not to mention, if they have an answer to the Canonist, it takes the Viridian Shaman, which is their cast for the turn. For that purpose, I safely warrant the 3 Canonists over the 3 Fallouts. For 98% of the population that don't know what this word means, apotheosis is the action of ascending to god or a godlike status. In terms of real magic cards, cards like Progenitus, Door of Destiny, Helix Pinnacle, and Nicol Bolas are some of the best examples of cards that have a truly game-defining effect just before they, well, happen. Helix Pinnacle having 95 counters, you getting all the mana for Door of Destiny, Nicol Bolas having 12 counters, or a good old Progenitus being declared as an attacker. They're all just ridiculous. This spoiler is the definition of ridiculous. If you haven't seen the Arcana yet, check the link in the sidebar. It's a pretty cool light show. But after the transformation has been completed, behold, Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. I love the present mystery behind this card. I love that it's a colorless EDH general. I love that its art was not only done by my favorite artist, but that it extends beyond its text-filled boundaries like no card before it. I love that it's a 12/12 Eldrazi creature for 10, but hell, that's not even the best part. For just attempting to cast the card, meaning even if it doesn't resolve, you get a free Tidings. But then, if it comes down and you attack, you annihilate their forces. What's more, the Annihilate term on the card is a keyword, meaning that we'll see it on at least 2 more cards in the set. And then, of course, even if this guy does die, you get to reshuffle him to drag out the game. Question is, as the set stands, which is to say this card plus Eye of Ugin, could this card see constructed play? My answer is yes. In the blue-white control decks, especially ones that play another artifact creature or 2 like Platinum Angel, the Eye of Ugin lets you tutor for cards you need to cast and get these guys out a turn or 2 earlier than those casting Iona. Also, if they already have Iona, the casting of Platinum Angel or Kozilek cannot be restricted as they are colorless. Not to mention, even if they do counter your Kozilek, you get 4 cards. And they don't, but it's sent to the graveyard anyway by Day of Judgment or Martial Coup, you will likely be on your way to winning the Milling War as you provisionalize your deck with 20 additional cards. And sure, with 227 cards left to be spoiled, it's near impossible to say what Standard will look like. But I am confident Kozilek will be there. As for this number on the bottom though, 6 out of 248. Why is it 248, not 249? Theory 1, the missing card is Eye of Ugin. Theory 2, the missing card is Ugin himself. Theory 3, one of the Power 9 is being reprinted and will be revealed as the 249th card, but only appear in a certain print run or in every 1 out of 20 boxes. As ridiculous as that sounds, the priceless treasures could mark this precedence for the new Power 9. Dan Frazier's recently publicized pieces of the Power 9 might be a foretell, and the upcoming From the Vault relics just might mean new Power 9. As for the 6th part of this number, does this mean the set won't have any cards with colored mana in their casting cost? This is possible, as even if cards like Ghostfire were printed and said they were colorless, they would be sorted in the set by casting cost, not color, as Ghostfire is. This might also mean that our colorless cards start at the letter K, though meaning there might be 1 card of each color. Or perhaps colorless just comes before white in the numbering system. Fact is, we don't know. Sure, artifacts come after all the monocolored cards, but what of those without the type? However we see Rise of the Eldrazi unfold, you can expect the unexpected. For now, we're seeing a beginning like this. But who knows? It might just end up like this. Here are some conversation starters for this week's comments. So until next week, in the words of YouTube's new failed audio transcriptions, so until it's not as if public, on behalf of the professors, or check for them, but what about taxes?